Matty Barton has lost far too much in just 1 year. And now, as his family continues to fall deeper into crisis, the question is whether he still has the strength to endure any more. In the latest Emmerdale developments, Matty Barton is once again at the center of deeply emotional scenes as he is forced to look back on the chain of losses that has surrounded him over the past year. This February marked exactly 1 year since Amy died in the limousine crash tragedy, a shock that has clearly never truly left Matty. Even though life has had to move on, that grief seems to have remained exactly where it was, only waiting for another crisis to stir it up again. Earlier, Matty showed his frustration when Kane expected him to act cheerful as usual on such a painful anniversary, and that detail revealed something important about his character. Matty is not the kind of person who can simply get over grief by pretending to be strong. He is still enduring it, but in a very quiet way. What makes this storyline even heavier is that Matty has barely had any time to recover before fresh pressure starts crashing down on him. Kane is about to tell the family that he has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, while Moira remains in prison for a crime she did not commit, with no real sign yet that her name will be cleared. In the middle of all this, Butler's farm, the place that has been tied to the Barton family for nearly 17 years, is now at risk of being sold. For Matty, this is not just about business or property. Butler's is memory, belonging, and one of the last things he still has to hold on to after losing Amy. That is why the fact that Matty is still clinging to hope that the farm can be saved says so much. It feels as though, in his mind, if Butler's is still there, then everything has not completely fallen apart yet. The tragedy is that just as Matty, Mac, and Ross begin to believe things could finally turn around after Vanessa brings back promising results from the livestock tests, Moira may already have gone a step further by meeting Kim Tate in prison. In other words, the hope that has only just begun to flicker may already have come too late. To me, that is what could break Matty the most. Not only the sheer scale of the losses he has suffered, but the cruel pattern of being led to believe he might hold on to something, only to have it slip away again and again. Looking more closely at him psychologically, Matty comes across as someone who is exhausted to the point of almost reaching his limit. After marrying Amy, he probably believed he had finally found his happy ending, but since then, everything has continued to fall apart. When someone loses the person they love, watches their family struggle, and then faces the possibility of saying goodbye to a place filled with memories, that sense of helplessness is completely understandable. At this point, Matty may not just be sad. He may be living in a state of emotional depletion, where every new crisis reawakens old wounds. As for Moira, the possibility of her selling her share of Butler's also makes complete sense. As Natalie J. Robb has shared, Moira's biggest priority right now is her family, especially Kane. If holding onto the farm means placing even more pressure on him at a time when he needs to focus on treatment, then Moira may very well decide to let it go. That would not necessarily be surrender, but rather a painful yet realistic choice, one that reflects the idea that the people you love matter more than anything else. My prediction is that the episodes ahead will push Matty into an even darker emotional phase, especially if the deal with Kim really does take Butler's out of the family's hands. He may be forced to face another mental and emotional collapse, because this time it would not simply mean losing a place, but losing one more final piece of memory connected to the life he once had. At the same time, this could also become a turning point for him. Either he continues sinking into everything he has lost, or he begins to learn that some things, no matter how painful, cannot be held onto forever.